can you tell us something about the reality of what you call the dark alley myth and stranger killing? And what's your interpretation of why Sarah Everard's tragic murder had such a big response and seemed to mean so much to so many women in the public?
So I think, I mean, first of all, starting off with the myths, when we imagine a woman being attacked, I think so many of us go straight to that dark alley myth of, you know, a woman walking alone at night in a dark alley being attacked by a stranger. And the myth, the really powerful myth about that is that women are far more likely to be raped by men they know, by men they're in a relationship with or have been in a relationship with. Women are far more likely to be murdered by men they are in a relationship with or have been in a relationship with. That's the biggest category of risk for women, is men with whom we're in a relationship. But that reality is terrifying. And it's troubling, I think. The reality that you can be in a loving, happy relationship with somebody who makes you feel really special, and that relationship can deteriorate over time to one of abuse, to one potentially involving rape, and to one ultimately involving murder, is horrific. And I think if women had that at the forefront of their minds all the time, we would, you know, women would never get into relationships with men. So I think it's partly because it's so deeply uncomfortable to acknowledge that. It's so deeply uncomfortable to, you know, look at the person you're in a relationship with, the person you're sharing a house with, the person you're marrying, and know that statistically he is the biggest danger to your life.
And I'm so sorry to interrupt, but the statistics are really powerful. So I think it's worth repeating them, which is, as you say, 2 women a week are murdered by a man, or a man murders 2 women a week. And a statistic I didn't know, which was that over 70% of women who are murdered in their own homes, which is a hugely powerful statistic.
Yeah. So in terms of the actual statistics, just on murder, 93% of murders are committed by men. So while men are more likely statistically to be victims of murder, they're also incredibly, overwhelmingly more likely to be the people who commit murder. An average of 2 women a week are killed not just by a man, but by a partner or ex-partner. So that's what we're looking at. That's where the relationship factor comes in. 62% of women who are killed, so I say killed because that includes manslaughter, they die at the hands of a partner or an ex-partner. And for older women, the second most likely category is that they'll be killed by their own son. So the statistics are terrifying, and like you say, far more likely to happen in your home or in the home of the partner. The dark alley myth, I think it persists partly because, like I said, it's more comfortable, but also partly I think we can, you know, blame the pantomime villain of the media again. Although in this case, I think they're behaving quite responsibly, which is that certainly in cases of rape and serious sexual assault, or any sexual assault, complainants, so people who make the allegation, regardless of whether or not the person is convicted, have lifetime anonymity. So that includes not just having your name printed in the paper, but the newspapers, any publishers can't publish anything that might potentially identify you. So what we often refer to as a jigsaw identification. So if you bear in mind the fact that you're far more likely to be raped by your boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or husband or ex-husband, if a newspaper prints that a person was convicted of raping his ex-wife, then for anybody who knows that person, it runs a very serious risk of identifying the victim. So the rapes and the serious sexual assaults that we read about in newspapers tend to be those stranger rapes, those a woman was attacked by somebody she'd never met rapes. Because it's much safer ground. But I think that does skew our perspective as to what the statistics actually show us.